Ben Shapiro testified before the House Judiciary Committee about conservative voices being silenced by media collusion. You know, the famously silent and oppressed Ben Shapiro had a lot to say about conservative media and conservative voices being silenced. My name is Brittany Page from The Page Perspective on YouTube. I am the guest host today for Jesse. Jesse, as many of you know, was in Scotland, had to return back to Scotland to be with our friend who was sick. There's been positive updates. Our friend has made positive progress. Jesse is going to share more about that in detail. So I will wait for him to return and do a video about that for you to give you the updates. But so far, so good. Thank you so much for all of your love, support, and just kind comments. It's been really nice to see those messages during what has been a very, very difficult week. I would love if you would subscribe to my channel. I've really enjoyed being here as the guest host, and you can follow me on social media at Brittany Page. So the hearing that we're talking about today was called the Collusion in Global Alliance for Responsible Media, and it examined whether existing civil and criminal penalties and current antitrust law enforcement efforts are sufficient to deter anti-competitive collusion in online advertising. So basically the point here, and during Ben's testimony, he complained about social media companies' policies for brand safety standards that decide whether or not ads can be run on something. So he complained that, for example, if you engage in hate speech, then companies don't want to run ads, and you can't run ads, and then you get demonetized and you get punished in the algorithm. And again, that's if you use hate speech. So seems like an easy problem to solve is just maybe not using hate speech, but we'll let him get his point across. He, of course, complained that defining something like hate speech is subjective. But then he went on to cite a very specific example of one of his colleagues at the Daily Wire, Matt Walsh, noted bigot, misgendering people with the intent of being a hateful bigot. So it seems like hate speech to me in that example, but conservatives are not uniquely punished in the algorithm, by the way. This is something that we deal with here on this channel, on Jesse's channel. I deal with on my channel. You get demonetized for many different things. You can put up a video about police brutality and that will get demonetized. I did a video where I talked about a study that was published about the number of rape-related pregnancies that had occurred, estimated in the aftermath of Roe v. Wade being overturned. And I opted to just get out in front of the process of demonetization and just turn off monetization because I didn't even want to deal with the hassle, knowing that something like that would be demonetized. So there's actually situations where there's really important topics that you want to talk about, but you're risking losing the monetization and potentially being punished in the algorithm. So before we get to what is a very fun Eric Swalwell moment with Ben Shapiro, we have to talk about Jim Jordan, representative from Ohio. For some reason, he felt like it was his role during this hearing to act as like a personal representative on behalf of Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire to try to get the other panelists who were sitting with Ben Shapiro, who represent companies that are involved in advertising. Jim Jordan took it upon himself to interrogate basically why they aren't running ads with Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire.
Mr. Patel, did Unilever ever advertise on the Daily Wire? Have you guys ever advertised there?
Not sure if we've ever advertised, and I don't know the answer to that.
Mr. Julian, the companies you represent ever advertise on the Daily Wire?
Not that I know. Not that I know of, but if they wanted to, we would happily do it.
If they wanted to, but you don't know that any of them have. Yeah. Is it like I think what did he just say? 50 million viewers over the past 90 days. What did Mr. Nadler say at the front end? He said like 13 million followers that they have. I mean, there's a real audience there. What would you say your target group is? 18 to 48-year-old women, Mr. Patel?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Mr. Shapiro, you got any 18 to 48-year-old women who, of those 50 million people watching your stuff or those 13 million followers, any of them 18 to 48-year-old women?
Again, according to our latest statistics, about 65% of my listeners are between ages 18 and 44, and about a quarter of them are women.
Yeah, so that's a pretty big number. I mean, you guys advertise, any of the companies you represent, Mr. Joe, advertise at, say, the Washington Post?
Yes.
Do you advertise on The View?
Yes.
Mr. Patel? Same question?
We tend to invest less than 1% on any news.
That wasn't the question. Do you advertise on The View? Do you advertise in Washington Post? Any left-leaning program or platforms out there? Do you advertise there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you do advertise there, but you got a huge market here you don't.
What are we doing here? Who does Jim Jordan work for? Does he work for the Daily Wire? It seems like he could be using his precious time to do something more beneficial than that. But I love how he's complaining that there's this huge opportunity to advertise with the Daily Wire. There's this huge market where advertisers will have to worry about their ad for their product airing alongside hate speech. Doesn't seem like a risk that a company would want to take, I think, probably. Jim, maybe. Is Jim Jordan the free market capitalist? Is he now in the business of seeking to force businesses to advertise with the Daily Wire? The Daily Wire will find its advertising when it appeals to the market, I think, is what Jim needs to understand here. Also, the Daily Wire's CEO recently said, the CEO and founder, that they are a $100 million a year business. So again, why are we wasting everyone's time acting like Ben Shapiro is hurting for money, like his life is hard, like he's struggling? It is so on brand for Republicans to be holding a hearing for a multi-millionaire like he's living a life of struggle while allying with Republicans who malign poor and working class people who are actually struggling. Those same Republicans who mock homeless people. It's disgusting. So this is why we need Eric Swalwell as sort of a healing balm after what we just had to go through. And I'm going to drop you right into the middle of the joke here, so I'm going to give you the setup. Eric Swalwell is questioning Ben Shapiro about the degree to which he agrees with aspects of Project 2025, trying to establish how radical he is, how he wants to restrict freedoms, how he uses his very prominent platform to advocate that people vote for people who will then restrict freedoms and generally make life worse for the most vulnerable among us. And then Eric brings up one of Ben's classic quotes.
You did say, I think homosexual activity is a sin.
Yes, I'm a religious Jew,
I'm
that's
sure
true.
there's a genetic component
You
to
found me
sexual
out.
orientation, but the view of all religious people I know has always been that sexual behavior is something that is up to you. And you said, I may have a desire to sleep with many women, but I do not.
I agree with me. Yes, that's true.
Congratulations on your, I'm sure it's very hard to restrain yourself.
Oh, do you think Ben got what Eric was trying to do there? Because I know Ben is like a logic bro and all that, but I think that one might have gone over his head, or maybe it's too sensitive. He can't let it get through. He can't accept that he was just mocked in front of the whole room while they're laughing in the background. I hope you heard the laughter. Just the worst, the absolute worst. Ben, of course. Not Eric. Eric Swalwell is great. What do you think? I'd love to know. You can call, leave a voicemail, 714-576-4054, or you can send an email to daily@dollemore.com. You can support this work by becoming a channel member for as little as $1.99 a month, or by going over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. We would love to see you there. So Jesse's going to be back. He's going to be sharing positive updates. I want to say it again because we truly mean it. The internet can often be a very cruel place where people who don't know you personally feel like they can say very hateful and disgusting things. And it comes with the territory. I'm not complaining. I've accepted it. It's fine. But it's nice in moments like this, when people really come together and send you messages of support and show that they care and show the humanity that exists that you don't often see on the internet. So thank you so much. It's been a rough week, but we are happy that our friend is doing so much better. So thank you. As Jesse would say, be genuine and take care of one another.